What up, party people in the house? We got the Q4 edition of The Bundle coming at y'all today. My name's Sham D, and let me tell y'all, we got more gems for you, more heat that's about to be dropped, all this knowledge coming to you very shortly. And allow me to introduce the man of the hour, the host with the most, the man holding it down, the one, the only, Marcos Rivera!
Jamie D. I don't know what you do, man. You always take it there. I appreciate you. I love you, man. Thank you for the intro. Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of The Bundle. I'm Marcos Rivera, I'm CEO of Pricing.io, and today what we're going to do is bring together the best, the brightest minds in B2B SaaS, and we're going to break down some of the hottest, biggest topics in monetization, growth, and pricing. With us today, we have Stephen Forth. He is the co-founder and CEO of Ibica, 20 plus years of experience in B2B SaaS pricing, emphasis on the plus, and he is one of the top 10 B2B SaaS experts out there in pricing. I want to welcome you to the show. Stephen, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Marcus. Thank you, Shami. Thank you, Salim. Really excited to be here and excited to see where this goes.
Awesome. Stephen, wonderful to have you here today, my man. The other combination to complete this bundle is going to be Salim Mohammed, who is the CEO and co-founder of Omnia Alliance Group. He's also a former VP of product at multitude of places, has experience in the health tech world, in the legal tech world, and beyond. This is also someone who brings in a lot of growth advisory, someone who knows how to build and capture value, focuses on lots of innovation, bringing tech forward, applying it to new use cases. He does it in his sleep, everybody. Salim, welcome to the show, my man. Come on,
thank you.
Doesn't like that song.
Thank you, Marcos. Great to be here.
Thank you for coming here and joining us today. So let me break down for everybody how we play this game in the bundle. So we like to approach it from a different angle. We play the pricing pyramid. And what we're doing here is we are going to take different topics hidden behind hip hop classics. All right. There's a song title. You probably don't know what it means yet until you pick it to ask the question. But each one is going to reveal a topic in pricing, in monetization or growth in B2B SaaS. And we're going to break that down together. You guys ready to play?
Let's go.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Let's figure out who's going to go first. I like to have a fun little twist on choosing the first person to go. It's just boring just to pick somebody at random. So today we're going to play a sibling game. All right. It's a little bit, I just talked to my brother the other day, so I got siblings on my mind. I'm going to write down lower or higher, and you're going to tell me when I say go, you're going to tell me how many siblings you have. All right. Now, I'm going to start with you, Stephen. Real quick, tell me how many siblings you have.
3.
3. Salim, how many siblings do you have?
One sister.
1. Awesome. So I picked lower on my note sheet here. So the lower number goes first, gets to pick the first topic here. I have 2 siblings, by the way, a little bro and a little sis. So learning a little bit about you guys today. Salim, I'm going to invite you to choose the first topic in the pricing pyramid, man. Which one you want to go into?
Let's do Hi, My Name Is, because I think that's a good one there. A good song.
I love it.
Hi, my name is. My name is. My name is.
All right. Hi, my name is. Let's talk about the topic behind this hip hop classic. What should SaaS companies consider when naming their offers? Like you've seen these package names, Starter and Pro and Enterprise and so on. So what should SaaS companies really think about when they're naming their offers? Does it even matter? Salim, what do you think about this?
I don't know if this is an easy one. This is the first one, but it just got to be simplicity. It's got to stick out, that name that anyone uses, whatever the package is, like your Pro, your Team, your Enterprise. It's just got to be something that the user, that the customer can understand and relate to. And I think you have different trends going on. Like you have, and I don't have the numbers to back this up, but I see that the Everyone's moving from kind of the 3-tier pricing, like your bronze, your silver, and gold pricing, to 4 tiers, with kind of that free tier coming in. And they're starting out with like the solos and the team and the pro and the enterprise, like you said. And to me, it's just simplicity. Like, you have to know what you're getting. If you introduce a tax in terms of understanding what the user is buying, that is not good at all, and that's going to actually slow down sales, especially if it's kind of a self-convert model too.
It's stuff. You know something? It's interesting because I want to get Stephen into this on as well. But what I've seen out there, I've done actually a short mini study. It's only a couple hundred pricing pages, but I started looking at all these different names out there: starter and pro and essentials, basic, all that stuff. What's interesting to me is that they were either covering who the buyer is or identifying the buyer. I am a pro, I am a starter, versus maybe others that were identifying the use case. Like, I want to grow, I want to accelerate. It seemed to have a couple different trends, but they seem disconnected, because as you read the name, if it's a little distracting and not and trying to understand what that name is implying to the user, then you're right. I think it's hard to figure out, like, okay, should I buy this or not? And it gets overall confusing. And as we all know, a confused mind never buys, right? So how do you then align it to something that is meaningful to the buyer, that helps them take that next step, which is usually to click on that damn button to get them to go on and either take a trial, buy it, or contact sales. Stephen, have you seen maybe some trends and themes in naming, packaging, and prices? Do you think it even matters? I want to get your opinion on naming.
First, I'd like to just take a step back and say that I think that we're way over-indexed on good, better, best, or tiered pricing. I think there's some consulting companies, some large consulting companies that push this out in a lot of places that it doesn't belong. And that with generative AI, we're going to move quickly away from GBP pricing. GBP pricing is last decade's thing. Having said that, though, so the naming thing is super interesting, because I like what you said, Marcos, which is that, it should help me recognize myself. If I'm going to buy that, it should help me know that this is for me. And I think you can do that both ways that you described. You can do it through the use case, or you can do it through the role, and either of those can work. It's when you try and jam them together that you start getting confusion. Now, having said that, though, let's remember, some of the most popular and powerful products out there on the market use almost random names. They pour meaning into the name rather than go for a name that has intrinsic meaning. And sometimes that can work really well too. So I think you need to have clarity on what you're doing. So all of these approaches can be made to work. You can take empty names and pour meaning into them. You can help me recognize my role. You can help me recognize my use case. Pick a strategy and stick to it.
I love it. I love it. And by the way, you can get creative with the names, again, as long as, I love how you use the term pour me into it. Can I see myself into it? Is it driving me to want to buy it and want it to solve my problem? Again, that buyer is on that pricing page for a reason. And often, if you're able to tap into that and connect with them, that this is for you and this is going to solve the pain that you came here to solve, then that's where the name comes into place. But it's not as easy as it sounds. And again, I think a lot of companies just throw a starter, pro, enterprise, and just move on with their day. I start to wonder, though, is the name that important? Or taking it a step beyond, I think identifying is one, but what about the hierarchy? So what I mean by that is, if you have multiple offerings on a pricing page, which most companies do, is it the clarity in which is what is better, what is less, what is more? Is there something there where at least you can tell the hierarchy between? And let me give you an example. Example of a plan that is called Premier, and then one that's called Premium. So you have one that's Premier and one that's Premium. Is it really obvious to tell which one is better or worse? What does that even mean? Is that for me? Like, these are the kind of things that I see on some pricing pages, or starter and basic, or essentials and basic. I'm looking at both of those. I'm wondering, like, is it really obvious to the user which one they really want to get into, because they sort of, overlap so much. There's some fuzzy lines between them, if you know what I mean. So I think it's self-identifying, but also creating some sort of hierarchy. So it's obvious to me which is the one with a lot of stuff, which is the one with less, which is the one that that maybe is more appropriate for my use case. What do you guys think about this hierarchy thing I'm picking up on?
I think you absolutely need clarity, and it's kind of shocking that someone would have Premier and Premium on the same pricing page. Yeah, that's whoever approved that did not talk to marketing. But yeah, I think the thing that we need to really emphasize here, though, is that your pricing page is one of the most important pages on your website, and people don't spend anywhere near enough time thinking about it and designing it.
I love it. Let's unpack that a little bit more because you also said something a few minutes ago about maybe good, better, best is over indexed, which if you look at a lot of pricing pages out there, you see that entry plan, the middle one, the high one, good, better, best. And for companies that are still guessing, which is my number one enemy out there, which is guesswork, pricing is too important to guess on. Folks do it anyway. They would usually go after some version of good, better, best as their attempt to revamp their pricing, but may not even think through or have the data or know how to understand if good, better, best is even the right fit. And so Stephen, thinking about this trend away from good, better, best, and Salim was even saying that, hey, yeah, they're actually the 3-tier model is starting to expand, starting to change. What are you seeing in terms of packaging? And then we'll get into naming them in a minute. But packaging in the world of AI, which is coming fast and furious.
Yeah, so I think what we're going to see is it's going to be much more dynamic, and not only will good, better, best likely to get blown away. The whole notion of packaging is likely to get blown away too, and we're going to move faster than we think to a world of dynamic configuration. And actually, I thought that until recently. I thought we were moving very fast to dynamic configuration. Now I'm increasingly thinking that B2B is going to be really dominated by agents. We're going to rebuild a lot of our software in terms of AI-based agents, and agent-based pricing is going to dominate B2B within 3 years.
Bold claim. Agent-based pricing is going to dominate B2B in 3 years. All right. This naming thing is actually growing some tentacles here and expanding, but I like it. Let's just keep going. Salim, I want to get your take on this one, but I want Stephen to maybe break down this agent-based pricing hypothesis. It sounds big.
So I think most people, watching this podcast, saw Salesforce's announcement, and at any rate, I've got the gray hairs. I can say I remember Salesforce's big, red circle with the big red line, no software.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's happening again. Salesforce really created the world that we live in today of B2B cloud subscription pricing, or what we call SaaS. They're the ones that Benioff pulled it together and brought it into clarity for a lot of people. And I think they're doing it again. I mean, this was a big ballsy move by Salesforce. 1 billion agents by the end of 2025. 1 billion with a B. That is a lot of agents. And if you look at what's happening in things like LangChain and Active Loop and all of the sort of core AI companies, this is moving crazy fast. I think in the pricing world, we all got really excited by Intercom's pricing for what's called Fin, but basically paying for you only pay if the AI agent resolved the customer issue. If it didn't resolve the customer issue, you don't got to pay.
Yeah, the resolution model.
That's huge, and Zendesk has followed along. But much as I like Intercom and Zendesk, they're not as big as Salesforce. Salesforce making this move is huge, and it's in line with a lot of what we're seeing on generative AI core technology development, on how generative AI is getting packaged, and I think we're going to be pricing agents.
So maybe then naming is not even that important in this new world, Stephen. Is that what you're dropping?
No, I think your agents are going to have personalities. Your agents will have a lot more personality than your B2B functions do. Okay, let's just try a little check here. I'm sure everyone here uses Gen AI multiple times a day, right? Do you ever say please and thank you to your Gen AI? I
I
Top
do.
one.
used to.
I'm so damn rude. I'm so damn rude. Nah.
I feel like a fool when I do it.
Nah, I say shut up and give me my answers. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm Canadian. What can I say?
Oh, so am I. Two Canadians here. All right. I agree with you, Stephen. I think that you're going to see this explosion of agents. I think that what we're seeing right now with AI is just the beginning. I I think it depends also on two factors that we haven't talked about: and the size of the company and the people that you're looking, your customer base, like who you're looking to go after. If you're looking at these enterprise type of sales and you're looking to sell hundreds of thousands of licenses, I think you have some play in there and you can be much more dynamic with the pricing and much more add-on or individual based pricing. I think that for the industries that I've been in, where typically they're on the lower number of users that are buying the product, a smaller number of people at the firm that are going to be using it, the complexity becomes an issue. I read a study somewhere, I can't remember what it is, but that was that the magic number is 5 ± 2. So people can't comprehend too many things. So even in a world of billions of agents, even if a company offers hundreds of them, that's too much processing power that our brains can take. So that's why I think those three, four, potentially five tiers are likely here to stay for some time because it's simple to understand. Yes, the namings will change whether it's on the user or the use case. Those I think will have some changes around. But I think the fundamental structure, I think people can't comprehend too many options. And if you're clicking to buy versus if it's you're going through an enterprise sales process and there's custom pricing, I think those are two different things. If you're on a screen looking to buy and there's way too many options, you're going to move on. Yeah, you're going to move on if it's premium or or premier. You're going to move on, but if there's too many, you're more likely to move on. Even that's the thing. Like even if you look at the larger companies, like there was a trend where like a Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, like Walmart Plus, like everyone used the same thing. Yes, they could be unique. They could accentuate their own brand and kind of pour value into it, like you said. But I think you have to also, well, the part that we haven't touched on, which is the second part I wanted to mention, was what your competitors are doing. If
Mm.
you have a list of 20 different options and your competitor has three, you're going to lose the sale. Like regardless of, you're always going to read down the page. You're not going to look at is essential better than basic, which is a little bit less than pro versus pro XXX. Like it becomes the pricing page. Like I can't remember if Marcus you mentioned it or Stephen you mentioned. Right now, it doesn't get as much attention, but that's one of your most powerful pages. And if it becomes too complex to understand, that's a negative.
Yeah, so Salim, I completely agree that we have to keep things simple, and that the magic number, which is the number of chunks that can be stored in short-term memory, so and I think it's actually 7 ± 2, is a really important thing for all of us to understand. But I don't think we're going to be buying by looking at pages. I think we're going to be buying by having conversations with other agents. And to make it really scary, a lot of the time it's going to be two agents talking to each other to make at least the
Oh,
initial buying decision. Right now, Ibica models 6 different growth motions, and I won't bother listing them, but I'm working on a new annual survey. So starting last year, we started doing a big survey on generative AI monetization, and we just finished and published a big survey on net revenue retention. And as I was working on the new survey instrument this week, I thought, damn, this has changed, and there's now emerging an AI, AI-led growth. So we've got product-led growth, we've got sales-led growth, community-led growth, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing the emergence of AI-led growth, and I don't know if anyone else here has tried it, but we've worked with AI SDR and agent-based sales development reps that are software agents, not humans. But I think we're rapidly getting to a place where I'm not just going to have an agent selling to me. I'm going to have my own buying agents. So I don't think the pricing page is going to look in 3 years. Pricing pages won't look like they look today. They'll be even more important, but they'll really be a place where both humans and agents can have conversations so that you discover What's value? How are you going to get value? Why should I believe you? What evidence do you have? I'm pretty sure that within the next 12 months, that conventional Google search, where you tap into a search box, will more or less have gone away.
12 months. Wow, that is very bold.
Yeah.
Steven's bold. I mean, he's seeing a different world out there, right, Steven? I mean, the rise of the agents, it's going to change everything, to your view, right?
The tectonic plates are shifting. And this is bigger. This is bigger than the internet. This is, and I actually think it's bigger than the printing press. It's bigger than the internet. The only thing that is comparable, I think, is the emergence of writing. We're in a complete new world.
Now, that is bold. And that, by the way, this innocent question of what you should be thinking about when naming your packages has exploded into something bigger. But it's important, though, right? Because
it's important.
You're right. As we evolve and change, what's in a name at the end of the day anyway? And really the buying process, the entire paradigm around it could shift.
Yeah.
And so closing thoughts, Salim, and then closing thoughts, Steven.
Yeah, so I think I do agree with Stephen that change is coming. I don't think that it is going to be at the speed and pace of 12 months or 3 to 5 years. I think that humans just by nature are they want to make decisions themselves. They want to like get that best price by do that negotiation. Like so that, and I think there's I don't know if it's a distrust or what's the right word, but if there's an agent you're talking to or two agents talking to each other, I think the first thing that someone is going to be thinking of is they're going to try to sell me something I don't need because it makes more revenue for them. So over time, I think that will kind of play itself out. But I think the speed of change is not going to be that quick. And I think that like we mentioned earlier, I think there's going to be two types of buyers out there: the ones which are large company, hundreds of thousands of licenses versus the dozens of licenses that they're buying. And so I think you on the larger side, yes, there's more of that agent to agent probably discussion happening in terms of the terms and what's the right thing to get and the multiple different options that you can buy. But on the other end of the scale, I think simplicity will rule the day still.
Yeah, and so Marcos, this is your Canadian quarters. So Salim, you're also Canadian. So I'm going to quote another Canadian, a guy who lives just around the corner from me, science fiction writer William Gibson, Cyberpunk.
Oh wow, I know him. Yeah, definitely.
And one of the famous quotes from Bill Gibson is, "The future is here; it's just not evenly distributed."
And agree with that.
And I think that the generative AI is making things simpler. It's way simpler to have a conversation than it is to try and pick through even GBB pricing. I want to be having a conversation, but the problem with conversations is that it doesn't scale well. And we're now in a world where mass personalization and scalability is possible.
I love it. The future is here, not evenly distributed. I think you're right. And that goes back into your point about enterprise. I could see someone buying a $10 a month thing or a $20 a month thing, or a fraction, 2 cents per resolution or whatever it is, right? Versus a large enterprise, 1,000 agents, 500K, whatever that is, handled very differently. You guys, thank you for bringing and just completely exploding that topic into even more juicy and chunky pieces.